Hi there. In this video, we're going to go over getting variables into our outlets, or rather templates. So we're going to clone our starter kit to temp and just cd into temp. We're going to open up our application and just get rid of all this. Now all we're doing is Ember application create, and we're also going to get rid of everything. We're going to leave our outlet, our application outlet, but we're going to get rid of the index outlet. Just going to reload, make sure everything's good to go. Looks good. So our goal for this video is to print out a hello world message. So this is the syntax for handlebars. You can read up more about that on their docs. But it's interesting here that we have this variable with nothing to reference, and we don't get an error, but I think Ember is just protecting us from ourselves. If we go back into our app and actually create an application route, which can become like so, and then actually let's save this. Let's just create an application controller, and let's define our message there. Okay, and so we said message, and we want to say hello world, and let's go ahead and reload, and there's our hello world. So that's about the easiest way you can get a variable with a value into your template. And again, we define this on the controller and reference it from our template. The other way we might want to do this is to say app.applicationView is ember.view extend. And now this time we're going to say message 2. Or let's just call this view message so it's easy to distinguish. And say this is the message from the view. And now, of course, we'd have to go back into our index page and actually try to reference that. So I think we called it view message, right? So let's reload and see what that does. Well, it doesn't do anything because we have to use this special syntax. I hope I got the variable name right. Looks like I didn't. Let's see. What is that guy called? View MSG. Sorry, guys. So if we actually name this correctly, this should now work. And just to kind of recap, since I made that typo, if we didn't have the view, this will not print out. We have to prefix the property on the view with view. So that's two ways to do that. Let's look at one other. Let's look at one other thing that I was going to show you here. On the application route, you can actually get access to your controller and do essentially the same thing we've done here. So here we have our application controller, and we simply defined a property MSG inside that. Hopefully that syntax is familiar to you. But you can also do it within lifecycle events. Lifecycle events are basically callbacks or hooks that just basically use naming conventions, and Ember will call them as it bootstraps your app for a given route. So let's see, that's going to take a controller, and in the controller we can do the same thing we essentially did below, and let's call this controller message 2. This is message on controller. Okay, and now if we go back into our index page and say controller message 2 and reload our page, we'll see this is the message on the controller. So this is the example that I've seen in their docs more often than not. But I think it's a little confusing if you're new to Ember because you're dealing with the fact that you're in the route, you're in your application route, you've got this callback, and you're setting it on the controller. If you're familiar with JavaScript, or if that's what you do for a living, it's possibly pretty straightforward. But this is painfully obvious. I'm in the application controller and I am setting it on my controller, and in my template I just reference message and print it out.